Hi, question for Sam and maybe Peter as well. And first, Sam, congrats on the project. It sounds like it's going fantastically well. My name's Holly. I'm kind of in the mining tech space. Interested to get your perspective. The DLE space in particular is like very, very busy from a technology perspective. I think there's something like over 50 startups working on technology there. So it's interesting to get your thoughts on how kind of that's influenced the decisions you've made in your project. What do you see as kind of interesting in that space? And how do you see, I guess, that competitive landscape influencing the overall lithium market going forward as well?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not an expert on lithium markets, but I can try. I think one thing is that DLE for us and the design of our project is extremely cost efficient, and it's low cost. It's an efficient process. One thing about those technologies that we are using is that they're already commercially available. So we've reduced a lot of risk by using technologies that are already used in other industries. I mean, for example, the geothermal industry is basically very similar to the oil and gas industry. So you can kind of use those similar technologies, not only the technologies, but the people. So we've got a lot of people in Vulcan who have come from oil and gas industry. They want to do something a bit better for the environment, and they're transitioning over and they actually seek out these new jobs. But yeah, using existing technologies that are already used in chemical processing elsewhere reduces that risk, definitely helps us with our technical due diligence work that our lenders want to know that this project's going to work. So very helpful. These new technologies are lower impact, significantly lower impact as well. So I think in terms of affecting the market, as I said, I'm no market expert, but I do know that this is going to shift the market. I know there's a lot. I mean, certainly for us, we've got many future phases to go. We're a globally significant resource in the lithium space, and we're seeing other big companies. I mean, look at Rio Tinto as well, seeing the value here. And I think there was just an announcement yesterday of another new huge project. I think going to be one of the biggest in the world that are going to be using DLE. I know there's some research going on potentially in WA, looking at how we can move hard rock mining into DLE. So that's going to be interesting. But one of the things we've done to make a big difference to our cost and our efficiency and our sustainability credentials is create our own sorbent. So that product, so that's basically how we get the lithium out of the brine. The sorbent kind of makes the lithium stick. The salts stick to the sorbent and all the rest of it passes through, and then we wash it off, and we've got a lithium chloride which we further refine into a higher concentration. But essentially developing our own sorbent, which we have IP, and that's our own technology, allows us to really leverage that and reduce costs further. And this sort of technology we're also going to be sharing with others and as well in the DLE space. We're one of only two Western-owned sorbent producers. Most of it comes out of China, and I think there's a lot of risk there. I know China announced some rules around, they locked down their technology, their IP. They weren't allowing that to be exported. They put some controls in place to kind of protect their own technology, because we're moving from oil and gas now. These battery minerals are the new energy, and countries are trying to secure their supply. So yeah, I think they're kind of my insights on that space. Yeah. Got one here in front.
My name is Masood Hussain. I'm from the Perth branch. I was just wondering, because Pat's been quiet, so I thought
unusual
question to the end.
Yeah.
So how do you look at technology enabling your mining fleet now for contracting at the moment, because you're actually developing underground mines? Is there anything that you can see how you can actually reduce your energy load requirement for your trucking, for your fleet, for your people, for anything energy, how you're actually managing and measuring those things using technology or anything of that kind?
Yeah, so in terms of measurement of, I'll say, machines and their performance and the metrics, so for us, that's basically real-time monitoring of our underground fleet. So that's everything from fuel consumption through to speed on grade and productivities and weights and a whole bunch of other metrics. Goes into improving maintenance regimes, preventative maintenance, and we've even started, I know it might sound strange when people looking at someone like me sitting on the stage saying it, but playing around with AI software, analytics with a view to improving our predictive or our preventative maintenance regimes. In other words, the predictability of failure for components and those things. So there's a whole range of different technologies, not just an electric drive, but I sort of touched on it before, but cognizant of time and the fact that I could talk for 4 or 5 hours straight, as people know, is that it's not just that. It's the control systems, it's software, it's the knowledge and the experience of the people within that and the management of that system. So, and, you know, just Darren touched on it before. It's not, and it shouldn't be, in my view, a binary discussion. You're either doing it or you're not doing it, because there's a long way between a fully diesel fleet and a fully electric fleet. And the reality is you can't do this now. The machines aren't available, the systems aren't available, you just can't do it. You can spend a lot of money trying, but probably for not getting a lot of return. But there's a whole range of things in the middle here that are being done now, and you can adopt the technology now. We're not inventors, but we're pretty good at adopting technology and implementing it. So hopefully that answered it without getting me waffling on for another hour.
I think we've got a few. I've got one here.
Hi, Lauren Stafford from AWS. Darren, you spoke about the fact that you've been working on becoming a net zero or a net zero emission gold producer for a decade. Have there ever been any, and also the fact that you can look at it from a holistic perspective and determine that there are less ventilation shafts required and negotiate with governments to ensure that those capital costs aren't incurred and that you can consider the economics on that perspective as well. Over the decade that Bellevue has been progressing towards this target, has there been peaks in time that has been challenging? And how did you hold both the shareholder base and your workforce through that?
Look, yeah, good question. And look, I wish it was a decade. We started building the mine probably proper about 3.5 years ago. So, you know, it was a sort of an idea and you know, a glint in the eye of a few of the early starters at Bellevue of trying to build it the right way and do things that way. And look, the answer is yes. Like, you know, people look at you crazy when you say, I'm going to build a gold mine because that's hard enough. But then I'm going to do it with all this other stuff stacked on top of it and all this other complexity that you're doing. And, you know, it's never a straight line when you certainly, you know, enter the space of trying to build a mine, hoping that it's all going to be a smooth ride the whole way through. But, you know, we've had issues with, geez, I could talk longer than Pat could talk about trucks.
Good competition
on some of this stuff. But I think that what's really important is that, you know, we've had a really strong sort of board focus through this time, and, you know, the strategy on, you know, sustainability and focus on sustainability is something that we've weaved into our purpose, our values. We've weaved it into our vision as a company, and it's something that, you know, has been endorsed by the board, endorsed by management, endorsed by employees. So that's the kind of thing that holds you together on it. And, you know, yes, there's been challenging times. You know, it's challenging to build a very large power station in the middle of the goldfields. You know, all this through COVID era where, you know, it's hard to get suppliers, hard to get people. The cost of construction went up significantly during that time as well. So, yes, there has been a lot of challenges through the time, but as I said, the good thing now is just having those wind turbines there is just that visual sort of representation of what we've done has been just a really powerful thing that's lifted the spirits of people on site. And being able to say, you know, it's only sort of a week old that we're a net zero gold producer in the first one, and I think amongst the market, you'll see a lot of people go, "Oh, so what? How much money are you making?" Right? But I've certainly had a lot of people from within the industry that I've interacted with over the years. We've been quite forthright in saying this is what we're going to do and this is the plan, and have presented a lot of conferences and done things on that decarb journey the whole way through. So to be able to get to the end and say we've actually done it is quite an uplifting achievement for the team. And now what we need to do is what our core business is, which is producing gold for a profit and doing it well. And there's all those other fun things that come with being the first net zero gold miner. But look, it's a good start. Exactly. I should say I would go to Paris Fashion Week, but I'm going to be here watching the Dockers play finals instead. So
Priorities. I knew we would get a Dockers mention in somewhere.
Had to do it at the end.
We might have time for one more. We're running out of time. There we go.
Comment on what is the cost benefit of the renewable power station? Surely, if you've got 10 to 12 to 15 years, it's actually going to be cheaper in an islanded scenario. So you've actually got a cost benefit as well as a green benefit.
Yeah, so when we did the numbers back in the day, that was a big thing. We looked at what the levelised cost of energy over the life of the power station is. And, it's when you do high renewable power stations, it's high CapEx, low OpEx. So if you can amortise it over a long enough time, you can make it, essentially cost neutral or better depending on how much life you've got. So look, we have a long-term power contract. Probably one of the issues that we had was the increase in capital costs that happened during the time that we were building it. We had to change power providers sort of halfway through the build, which added some more challenges. So it ended up costing us more. As a Bellevue example, I know that there are others that kind of depends on where you are and where you get your hydrocarbons from and how it does. But I guess the benefits that we have is protection against any future carbon taxes which might happen. Protection against a rise in the price of hydrocarbons over the time, should the price of gas, diesel or whatever go up. And then we're trying to offset it by trying to sell the product at a premium to get a financial benefit for it as well. So there's a few things that go into it over time, but it is a high CapEx project.